What's happening, Hardscapers? Today we're going to be talking about small projects, why I like to take them on, and talk you through what we did on this project. Let's get into this. When I started my business, we took on small projects and mostly lift and relay, and this really helped me kickstart my business, get the cash flow moving into my business so that I can invest back into it and start to grow it. Now, still, even to this day, I really like taking on small projects so that I can sprinkle them in throughout my schedule. It really does help with that cash flow, and I'm not keeping all of my eggs in one basket when we're a small 1, 2, 3 person company, one crew right now, where a larger project is going to take up a large part of my schedule. I don't want to fill up my schedule with 4 or 5 large projects, whatever it might work out to be. I'd rather take on 2, 3 larger projects and then sprinkle in those smaller jobs throughout the season. As a smaller company, if I put my eggs into those larger projects and I misquote one, or I get screwed over on one and payment comes late, that can really screw over a small business like myself. So instead, I prefer to diversify a little bit, especially in the last few years where we've had product shortages. Those lift and relay projects were really nice projects to take on where I didn't have to wait for product to come in. But especially with these small projects where this is only about 115 square feet, a little side project for a pool patio, it's a nice little change up compared to the larger project that we've still currently got going on that we're waiting on product to finish up. Especially when we're just starting our season, it's nice to have a little bit of cash flow kick come in to keep us moving throughout as we wait for projects to get completed and to get final payment on those. So taking on those smaller projects help with that cash flow. It helps money come in really quick. 2-3 days, we're in and we're out and we're getting paid in full for that project. Now with a larger project, you should still be scheduling payments throughout, whether that is progress payments or time on the job site payments, just to ensure that you're getting that cash flow going. You don't want to take a lump sum up front and then wait for the remainder at the end of the project. You want to make sure that you schedule those payments consistently throughout the start to the finish of that project to ensure that you're not taking a hit and that you can continue to make your payments as well as your payroll as a business owner. And when it comes to these smaller projects or projects that you don't typically take on or want to take on as your business continues to grow, you don't have to promote them on your social channels or on your marketing channels. You don't need to take that final picture and post it somewhere to show those potential clients that you do take on those smaller projects. So there's projects that you do not want to take on in your business. Just use those smaller projects to fill holes in your schedule wherever they may appear, or when you think that you might be needing to bang out a quick little project to keep money coming into your business real quick. Use the content generated from those larger projects or the projects that you do want to take on moving forward in the future of your business, and use those as promotional material, as marketing content through your social channels and wherever else you want to post them. Keep those smaller projects and keep those projects that you don't typically take on or want to take on to yourself. Now, just because it's a smaller job doesn't mean we don't need to quote them properly. Larger jobs are specifically important for this, but that doesn't mean that smaller projects are any different. A larger project is difficult because from the start to the finish of it, and then doing the job costing, which you compare your estimated amounts, materials, labor, and so on, versus what they actually were to see if you made money. You've likely quoted a lot more larger projects in the meantime, and if you're still using the same calculations and you were off and you lost money on that large project, you likely have many more larger projects in your schedule that are off on those numbers as well. Whereas a smaller project, you've got a little bit more leeway in there to find out if you've lost money on a project and then to adapt your pricing structure, your pricing calculations to be able to factor that in. If you don't know, we have a software that helps you with all this. That's the How to Hardscape headquarters. Link is in the description below for that if you're interested. But for this 115 square foot patio, it's really important to know what we're quoting and not to go off of a square foot pricing for this. Square foot pricing just doesn't apply to everything that we're doing. There's so many different variables and factors to consider when you're actually quoting a project. For example, square versus curve. We're actually matching this up to a curved concrete patio that goes around the pool. That means it's going to be considerably more cutting for this project when compared to doing a square patio, or to be able to do a no-cut patio if it's a completely square project. So we need to factor in that additional cutting, which does take quite a bit of time for this curved project. Another thing that we did was we looked around that area when we were quoting during the day. We noticed lots of people were at home. We noticed that there's a lot of elderly folks in this area, a lot of retired people. So we know that for this project, it might be best to bring in our IQ dustless saw, which is going to add time to that cutting, but it's going to completely cut down that dust, especially with their pool in the backyard. It's clean. We don't want cut dust to be going into that pool, going around this neighborhood, and I hate cutting wet. So we factored that into additional labor for this project. Another thing that we factored into this is that this is going to have to be completely hand dug. We can't get a piece of equipment into this backyard. They've got concrete patios, multiple steps on the way to get to this area, and we could take out a panel of that fence near where we're digging out, but that is probably just not worth it for 115 square feet. So I also factored in that to that additional labor as well. And then on top of that, it's quite the distance from that dig out to the actual curb where we're going to be putting it into a bin. So that is an additional amount that we need to factor in, that travel time from wheelbarrow fill up all the way to the bin to drop it off. And additionally, grabbing gravel and bringing it to the backyard for this. And I also ensured that we did a test hole dig for this project to see if we could use synthetic base, but I had a feeling we weren't, because this used to be a garden area, and sure enough, it's about 8 inches down of topsoil before we start hitting our clay subsoil. Another thing that needs to be factored in that just may be missed if you're doing just square foot pricing. That's why I always recommend think about production rates, think about all these different variables, as well as the product that you're installing and how efficient you are in installing that. Additionally, we are matching this side patio to another side patio on the other side of the pool that they had done. And in that case, they did a sailor course all the way around the patio, which I really don't like, especially with curved patios. But just to match it, I knew that we're gonna have to cut every single piece of the 6x13s for that sailor course around that curve to make it look nice. So you can bet that we factored that into our pricing as well. So as you can see, lots of factors went into actually quoting this project. Even though it's a small project, we got done it in 2 days. You need to consider all of your costs and all of the time spent for every single project that you're doing, whether it's a small project, but even more importantly for those larger projects, you need to know what you're quoting and how you're going to quote it. We are in this business to not only make a living for ourselves, but to also earn money for the business so that we can continue to grow that business and hopefully, just hopefully, get some employees sooner or later. And if you're interested in that How to Hardscape headquarters software, link will be in the description below. This will help you streamline processes in your business, including budgeting and estimating from that budget to ensure that you're recouping overhead costs with every labor hour that you are quoting on a project. We're rolling out time tracking, scheduling, and so many more features. You're locked in on your pricing when you do sign up. When more features get added, our pricing will continue to increase, but if you're signed up, you are locked in on that rate. So it's never a bad time to sign up if you're interested in that software. Once again, link is in the description below. If you found this video helpful for whatever reason, please like this video. That goes a long way in helping us grow this channel. Comment any questions that you may have about smaller projects, about quoting, anything that you may have. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel for more hardscaping content like this. Thank you so much for watching.